This is a quick video on frustration and chronic pain. Frustration, persistent pain. It drives people mad. So if you're interested to hear why it drives them mad and what they can do about it, then watch the video. My name is Drew Coverdale. I'm a physiotherapist in the UK and I help people reverse the process of persistent pain, finding behaviours that are going to help them do that and turn them into habits. Okay, so let's look at this issue of frustration with persistent pain. Lots of people comment saying they fully understand that pain is generated in the brain and it's felt in the body. The brain is the body is the brain. There's no separation between your toe and your middle of your brain. It's all connected. So where you feel that pain, it's real, and lots of people understand the science behind that and say, oh, I get it, I know it's so long after my injury and I know it was linked to the stress of the time, so I understand it. And then they say, but why is my pain still there? Well, pain's encoded in the unconscious part of your mind, not the conscious part. Now, the conscious part is a bit like the prefrontal cortex. Think of it like the behind your forehead, your thinking brain. It's quite a small processor. The subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, it doesn't really matter the semantics, but it's kind of all of those experiences in the past that are encoded that you can't really put your finger on consciously. A bit like if I said to you, find the place in your mind where you remember how to change gear in the car. You wouldn't really know where to look for that, or how to walk, how you learned French, or where you played the piano. These are so diffuse memories encoded into almost every cell of your body that you can't put your finger on where they are. Yeah, if I said to you, can you tell me where my first name, it might be easy to pick and say, oh, that's Drew. Or remember your neighbour's name, or where you work, or the place you work. You remember it pretty easily. So people feel frustrated because they intellectually understand the information but don't know how to they think that warrants the pain going like that. Now occasionally that happens. That's called an epiphany. So the emotional charge, which is often fear attached to the pain, as soon as the belief changes, what, I'm not damaged, I'm not as badly damaged as I thought. No. What, and all those doctors were telling me things they thought were true but they're not? Yeah. Well, you don't need this level of pain? Yeah. Well, the pain pretty much can go in the moment. Keep the structural changes you've got, but you don't need the pain if you don't have the fear. So you no longer need that protective program. So fear is a big driver of persistent pain, but also frustration is. So once the fear's dropped, because intellectually you know, I shouldn't have this pain, it's the frustration that means that you do. So frustration is a trauma response. It's still like wanting to be in control. It's the flight response essentially. So the person's still desperately trying to overcome this thing now they have the information and analyse it. But that means that they're simply driving behaviours that trigger an unsafe message to the unconscious part of your brain. And it happily, what does it use to protect that person from doing that behaviour too much? Pain. So they don't realise that they're actually driving the pain that they're so frustrated about by being frustrated. Now, what about that for a paradox? Now, what can you do about that? Well, firstly, you can say, oh, I get it. I see the loop I'm in. Frustration is focus on the problem. That's noradrenaline. That triggers adrenaline and cortisol. They're the stress chemicals. All you get back from that output is uncertainty. I still haven't got the information to do and it's not working. I'm not in control. It drives the stress chemicals, it drives the focus, it drives the stress chemicals, it drives the focus, and the pain dances around like a party that you haven't been asked for an invite to. So if you've got 24 hours of that, I get it, it's crazy. So you have to commit to a couple of minutes saying, right, I'm going to be calm for a couple of minutes. And when I do, I'm going to reward myself. And I'm going to start to habituate the behaviours that make my nervous system feel safe and make me feel safe. Go back to being frustrated, you're allowed to. That's just an avoidance behaviour. But you're going to start to commit to it. Or you're either not going to commit to it. There's no problem either way. It's harder for you to change if you don't commit. And the commitment isn't to me or to your friends or to your family or to anyone else. It's to you to slow down with your intent on recovery, because that's just another thing to be perfectionist about. Remember, it's almost the perfect storm. These traits that you have now that are polarized, they were there before the pain. They were there for some program of protection, to be approved of, to be perfect, to be amazing, to deliver, to do for everyone, to kind of achieve. And whenever you got those things, they never satisfy anybody, so people go again. So when pain comes with those people in this perfect storm where they can't almost access those karma mechanisms, either because they're not there around them in the support system, or they're maybe just not skilled in getting them, then you've got to get good at attaching those behaviours to who you are now. And that's a skill you can learn, and all skills take a little practice. All skills, just as brushing your teeth or walking or changing gear in the car or learning French or playing the piano, anything you've got good at, you can get good at this, but you have to do it with the intent that isn't attached to the fight or flight response. And as soon as you feel frustrated and use that frustration to focus on getting better, it simply keeps you stuck. So I understand that loop intellectually. It doesn't make me immune from it. It doesn't. Intellectually understanding information means nothing, because people get better from this without understanding it. They just realise they have to attend to themselves, not with the repeated fight, flight, freeze or fawn responses that had the place and still have the place at times. But the paradox again is that when people have got success in life through those behaviours, when they have pain now, they think, oh, I'll use the same behaviours, but they don't even know they're using them because they're unconscious. They might be aware and saying it's frustration, but if it is, then lighten up in the recovery process, and just for a minute or two, use that ABC mechanism. Anchor a new behaviour to a time in the day that you're going to choose to do something that's calming. The behaviour is something rest and digest, feed and breathe, so it's something that intuitively feels calming from a serotonin based perspective, so love based, a place you love, a time you love, a person you love, a thing you love, but you're getting it from inside of you just for a couple of minutes, and you celebrate it. That might be deep breathing, it might be a small walk, it might be a moment where you just control your breathing in a way that allows you to just feel calmer. And you can use things external to you to start with that, but then once you get good at triggering that internal mechanism of calmness just for a couple of minutes, reward that behaviour. The brain attaches dopamine to the new behaviour, so it starts to get addicted to behaviours that make you feel safe, that aren't the old behaviours. It's a real puzzle you have to work out, but if you feel frustrated, it's because you understand it intellectually, and if you really understand it, then you understand you have to make a commitment. And if you're going to make a commitment, well, you can't do half measures. You can't commit to it and then be frustrated in half an hour. That's not a commitment. It's a tough gig for those that get frustrated with this, but you can still do it, because lots have. Keep going, soften the focus on your recovery. Don't be so perfect. Know that you're doing the right thing. You don't brush your teeth every day and then go, is it right? Is that enough? Have I done it? Has it worked? Doesn't matter what the outcome of your behaviours are. If you're doing the right ones, you will start to notice improvements. Keep going.